Hi everyone, welcome back to our entrepreneurship classes. Okay, and today we will proceed ahead to the last topic of our unit, that is formalities for starting a business. But before going to the formalities, let us look the factors to be considered before starting a business. Okay, in this competitive world of business, it is very difficult for any business to survive like that without considering certain elements and factors that exist in the market. Therefore, it is very important and necessary for any entrepreneur to consider these various factors before starting an enterprise so that he or she can be successful in his or her enterprise. So before starting an enterprise, because in today's market there is a very high risk, right? There are lots of competitors, and in this global pace of market, it is very difficult for any mere enterprise to survive. Therefore, before starting your enterprise, even before starting your enterprise, you have to consider certain factors. And what are these factors? Let us look into it one by one. So the first factor is selecting line of business. The first thing that an entrepreneur needs to consider is the line of business. What kind of business line does the entrepreneur wants to be in? Does he or she wants to be in the industrial form of business? Does an entrepreneur wants to set up an industry, or whether he or she wants to run the other businesses and other sectors? So whether he wants to run an industry or whether he wants to deal in these commercial activities should be considered. In order to consider these things, that is selecting the line of business, what the entrepreneur should consider is the demand of the product, the technologies to be used, and all these things should be considered, and then only an entrepreneur should select the line of his or her business. The next factor to be considered is the scale or size of business. Here, scale or size of business, by scale or size of business, it means whether the entrepreneur wants to start up a small-scale industry or small-scale business, or whether his enterprise is going to be a large-scale enterprise. And after considering the capital, after considering the amount of capital required, only entrepreneur will consider these factors. An entrepreneur will consider the capital required in his enterprise and the total amount of his capital. Only after that, he would decide whether his or her enterprise is going to be a small-scale enterprise or a large-scale enterprise. And if an entrepreneur finds that there is ample of opportunities in the market and he or she can survive with starting with the large scale industry, then he can proceed ahead. But if entrepreneur finds that there are lots of high risks in the business, and if he finds that there are competition, there are lots of competition and lots of conditions in order to stop your market or in order to be a barrier in your market, then entrepreneur should always start with small-scale business, because at a starting point only, you don't want to fail, or an entrepreneur wants to succeed and go step by step. Therefore, it is very important for an entrepreneur to select which scale of industry or what size of enterprise does he or she wants to begin with. But it is always better as an entrepreneur to start with the small-scale enterprises. The next is choice or form of business. After selecting the line of business and after selecting the size or scale of business, now the choice of an entrepreneur is to choose which form of business does he want to follow. If the entrepreneur wants to run a sole proprietorship business, or if he wants to build alliance and partners, that is partnership firm, and if an entrepreneur wants to go to this joint stock company, he can. So the next thing is the choice of the form of business. If your enterprise is going to be small and can be managed by one person, then you go by sole proprietorship business. The next thing is, if you want to build partnership and alliance, and if you feel that you alone cannot manage the business, then you form alliance and partners. This is the choice of form of business. Which form of business would you like to take up? Maybe public, private, sole proprietorship, joint stock company, Hindu undivided family, or partnership, all those things. So the choice or form of the business should be considered, and is also a factor that is considered before starting a business. The next is location of your unit. Location plays a very important role in your enterprise. The place where you are going to set up your production unit, or the place where you are going to set up your business enterprise, should be a place where it is easily accessible. Okay, easily accessible in the sense where all the banking facilities are there, where all the transportation are available, where the communication is not a barrier. Okay, all those things, electricity, power, water, all those things should be considered while selecting your location of the business unit. But most of all, the most important thing that you need to consider before setting up a business or selecting your location is the people and the community and the society in which your business production unit is going to be set up. You cannot set up an industry in a place where, for example, if you want to set up a beef pickle industry, you cannot set up the beef pickle industry or the production unit in the midst of Hindu society, right? In the same manner, you should not hurt the community, or you should not go against the community and society in which your business unit or your production unit is going to be set up. Therefore, while considering location, you have to consider the communication, transportation, banking facilities, availability of raw materials, and the community also should be kept in mind. Okay. The next is financial requirement. Obviously, we know that finance is the background of all business activities and all the economic activities. Therefore, an enterprise cannot survive without without finance. It is like a lifeblood of business. Therefore, the financial requirement, okay, the financial requirement is the most important element in a business. So this factor needs to be considered properly. Financial requirement in the sense, how much fixed capital do you require? How much capital should be invested to start your business, and all those things should be considered, relating to finance. What are the cash flow projections? Okay, what are the working capital? And if you are going to start up a business, how are you going to start up your business? If you are going to take assistance from your friends, family, or your savings, or from loan, if you are going to start your business with loan, or if you are going to issue your shares, right, issue of shares, or through debentures. So all these methods should be kept in mind, and the financial decision should be made in an enterprise. The next factor to be considered before starting a business unit is physical facilities. Here, physical facilities means your machines and equipments, the technology that you are going to use, and the equipment, okay, the equipments that needs to be there in order to produce a product. So physical facilities here refers to the machines and equipments and plant of your business. Okay, so physical facilities also plays a very important role, because these are the fixed assets which you need to start a business, and in order to arrange it, it takes time. Therefore, technology, machines and equipment all comes under physical facilities. If you are going to produce a product, what are the different kinds of machines that you need? What are the different equipments that you need? What are the different tools that you need? Okay, all those things comes under this physical facilities. The next thing that you need to consider before starting an enterprise is competent workers. Okay, workers and employees work in your enterprise, and through them you operate your business, right? So what kind of employees do you need? How many total number of employees do you need, right? All those things must be considered. And while considering employees, you also should consider the methods and ways to motivate and train the employees as well. How much employees do you need? What is the number of skilled labor and unskilled labor that you need to run your enterprise, to run your business? What is the amount of skilled labor that you will recruit, and what is the amount of unskilled labor that you will recruit? How many technicians do you need, right? How many managers do you need? All those things should be considered, and you should take only competent and competent and committed workforce. You need competent and committed workforce. Therefore, it is very essential for an entrepreneur to choose the right candidate, that is, to choose the right employee for the right job that needs to be appointed in the business. The next thing after selecting the workers or the total number of employees. The next thing is plant layout. Okay, plant layout means the arrangement of the machines and equipments that needs to be set up in order to produce in the production unit. Okay, so plant layout is just the arrangement of the machines. How are the machines and equipments going to be set up to produce a particular product? So plant layout basically means the arrangement of the machines and equipments to produce a product in a production unit. The next thing that you need to consider, or the next factor that you need to consider before starting a business, is tax planning. In tax planning, an entrepreneur must try to analyze, okay, must try to analyze how much tax does he or she needs to pay, or in other words, he must know his tax liability under the tax department. How much tax does he or she needs to pay in order to produce a product, right? So at what time does he or she needs to pay the tax to the government or to the different sources. Okay, so tax planning is also an important factor and an essential element which need to be considered, because as an entrepreneur, if you start a business, it is obvious that you have to pay tax, and since you are working under the government framework, you have to abide by the rules and regulation that is given by the government, and tax is also payable to the government. That's why you have to plan your tax. Okay, you have to plan your tax and see how much tax you are liable to pay. The next is startup and enterprise. After completing all these steps, that is after selecting the line of your business, that is whether it's going to be industry or whether you are going to take commercial activity, those things, after selecting the size, whether it's going to be large scale or whether it's going to be small scale, and after choosing the form of your business, whether it's going to be sole proprietorship, whether it's going to be partnership, and all those things, the next comes the location. Okay, location, that is, you select the right location for the production unit. You have to choose the right location, keeping in mind the different factors, different elements such as availability and easily accessible of communication, transport, and those things. And after that only you select the location. The next thing that you need to see is the financial requirement. Where are you going to get the financial assistances, and from which financial institutions should also be considered. The next thing that you need to do is physical facilities, that is the machines and tools and equipments that are required to run the business. And you also need to select the competent workers, right? Competent workers. The management of different workers, it considers the employee element and the man force in the business. Plant layout is the arrangement. After arranging all the business machines that are required for production, then you plan your tax. The last thing is you set up your enterprise. Okay, so once you consider all these factors, now you are ready and you are available to set up your enterprise. Therefore, before starting an enterprise, any entrepreneur who wants to succeed and who wants to go ahead in the long run has to consider these 9 factors before starting the enterprise. Okay, always remember that before starting your enterprise, if you plan out things, everything will go according to your plan. Therefore, it is necessary for any entrepreneur to consider these factors, and each and every factor is very important for the success of the enterprise. Therefore, it is very important for an entrepreneur to scan this business and follow this steps and factors before starting your business. So after considering the factors of your business, you set up your business, right? So once you set up your enterprise, there are certain legal formalities that you need to undergo. And the first thing that you need to do is obtain PAN number. Okay, so PAN is a permanent account number. It is a 10-digit alphanumeric number. Okay, and it is an identifier of a person to the tax department, to the income tax department. Therefore, it is necessary for any business person or any entrepreneur to obtain the PAN from the income tax department, because for some business transactions you need PAN number, or else if you don't have your PAN number, you cannot go under certain financial transactions. As well, those entrepreneurs whose previous year's sales is more than 5 lakhs, okay, whose gross sales is more than 5 lakhs have to procure this PAN number. And all those individuals who are SSC or who have to pay tax to the income tax department have to obtain a PAN number or a PAN card from the income tax department. The next thing is open current account. Any individual can open a current account in the bank, okay? Who are competent to enter into contract, they can open a current account. A current account can be, even for the companies or partnership firm or joint stock company. Hindu Undivided Family also a business, they also have a joint current account. Therefore, it is very important for any business, before commencing, they need to acquire a current account. Even a minor who is above 14 years of age, who can read and write, can open a current account. But in case of partnership business, what they need to do to open a current account is they need to give the certificate of incorporation, memorandum of associations, article of association. All these things are required in order to open a current account for partnership businesses and alliances. The third thing is to register the company. Whether it be a private company, public company, joint stock company, you have to register your company under various acts. For Hindu Undivided Family business, they are governed by the Hindu Succession Act. So they have to register under that. Joint stock company under the Companies Act 1956. Partnership company, partnership firm under the Partnership Act 1932. So there are different acts that govern the different companies. Therefore, it is mandatory for any business to register the company for future benefits. And if any conflict arises, they can solve that problem if they have registered their company. Okay. Next is to register under VAT. VAT is the value added tax. Okay. So value added tax is the tax that is deducted from the ultimate consumer of the product. Therefore, as a business unit, if you are going to produce something, you have to register the VAT. Okay. The next is excise tax. In excise tax, the tax is deducted from the production unit, or if you are going to produce something or manufacturing something, then your tax is deducted. Therefore, you have to register under the excise duty. This excise duty is collected by is levied by the central or the state government. Okay, the central government will appoint the states to levy this tax. So excise duty, you have to register excise duty if you are going to produce a product which is new. The next is custom duty. You need to register under custom duty if you want to import something to India, and if you want to export something from India as well. Okay, so custom duty relates to the international relations of the product. If you are going to deal with international product, or if you want to import something to India, you have to pay custom tax. If you are going to import something from the other countries, you have to pay tax. Therefore, if you are going beyond your boundary, that is beyond the country's boundary, you have to register under the customs tax or custom duty. The next is DIC, okay, District Industry Center. So in District Industry Center, what you have to do is you have to register in District Industry Center if you want to get benefits and incentives from the state. If there is any incentives and benefits from the states, then you will be entitled to get if you register under District Industry Center. If you don't register under the District Industry Center, you are not entitled and you cannot get benefits and incentives which you are supposed to get from the state. Okay. The next thing is TAN. That is tax collectible and deductible account number. So in TAN, those whose tax are deducted at source, okay, TDS. TDS is the tax deducted at source. So if your tax is deductible at the main source of your income, then you have to procure this TAN number. TAN is also like PAN. It is a 10-digit alphanumeric number which you need to procure. If your tax is going to be deducted at the source of your income instead or from different sources. Okay, so those who are going to acquire tax deducted at source should acquire the TAN. The last is the Employee Provident Fund. So Employee Provident Fund is to be registered by the enterprises who have more than 20 employees. So with this, we come to the end of our Unit 2. Okay, thank you.